Okay, well, good morning. I'm Claire. I live in Cranley with my husband and my 3 children. We've got Annabelle, who's 7, Ben, who's nearly 5, and Lottie, who you've heard squeaking this morning, who's 9 months. She's gone for a walk. I mention them to you because they are my full-time job, okay? And I'm talking about volunteering. I grew up in a church family, and as I was looking back to think about this morning, my whole life has been shaped by youth work and children's work, paid people, volunteers. And that has really affected my life. After university, I spent a year being a gap year student, a full-time youth volunteer. And then after that, I left and moved up to Shropshire and became a full-time paid youth worker. And I was the only one in the Hereford diocese for 6 years. 4 years ago, Tim and I moved back down here to be closer to our families. And although David kindly describes me as a volunteer, I'm on maternity leave at the moment, although I'm still around. I love being a volunteer. I can do what I love, and I don't have the responsibilities or the church politics. It's fantastic. Christian ministry works better if food is involved. Thank you. Costa hot chocolate, a meal at Messy Church, a slice of cake. And I happen to think that we as youth workers, paid or voluntary, are all like cake. We all have something in common with a nice bit of sponge. Now, we are. My first visual aid, I haven't done PowerPoint, so here we go. My first visual aid, all right, I don't know if you can see this. This is a Marks and Spencer's chocolate cake, and thank you. You will be getting a slice of this later. Now, I've chosen M&S for a reason, because in my mind, and that of my mother's, M&S is very nice. A bit of a treat. So, we have beautiful packaging, very stylish, and it's beautiful inside. The ingredients are labelled in 3 different languages, and I bet it even tastes good. Now, are we all happy that this is a good cake? Yes, good. And I'm glad that we agree that this is a good cake because this represents our paid youth workers, okay? Well done, and I bet you're all delicious too, okay? It's gorgeous. Right. Just out of interest, how many people here are volunteers? Fabulous. Okay. So those of us that engage with young people but we're not paid for it, what are we like? Perhaps we're a bit more like a homemade cake. All right, everything is done from the heart, from the spare time that we give up, and for the joy of seeing young people grow in faith. Right, okay. I don't know how this is going to work with the sound things. Here we go. Oh, right. A volunteer is at the beginning prepared, all right, and ready to go. Now, okay. First of all, we start with our flour. And now this is a gluten-free flour because I'm a celiac. This is what I deal with. In it goes. It's a special flour. And the reason is, we're all special, we're all different. We all bring something different to our groups. Our youth groups are made up of individuals. And sometimes it takes someone who is a bit special to look after the person who's a bit special. It takes a gluten-free youth worker to deal with your celiac member of the group. It might be a grandfather figure or a grandmother figure that the young person can listen to and take advice from because they can't do it from someone who's a few years older than themselves. We're all different. We all bring something different. The more varied we are, the more likely that we can make a greater number of meaningful relationships. Okay, next in my bowl, butter, an organic butter, because it's good and rich and adds depth and flavour. A buttery cake is a joyful cake, all right? A volunteer is full of joy. And I was thinking, why? And I was thinking, because I don't have to be there. I don't have to take my holiday in school holiday times, and I'm not going to be fired for saying something slightly wrong. I can take a break if I want to, for however long I need to. So perhaps I'm more joyful because there is freedom. And joy is catching, isn't it? Right, what's next? Sugar. Sweetness. A volunteer can be real sweetness and joy to the paid people, to the paid youth worker. We can share the load. We can pray for young people. We can keep an extra eye out for the one that needs an extra bit of special care. I was at Messy Church a few weeks ago, and my family were ravenous, and they ran on ahead of me and Lottie, and they found a seat at the table and didn't bother saving one for me. That's nice, isn't it? And so I sat down opposite a lady who was new with her little boy who was feeling a bit scratchy because he was hungry and tired. And I had Lottie in my lap with her bib on and hot chilli and rice going everywhere. And then another young person came and sat down next to me. And do you know what? I'm not in a proper voluntary role at the moment, but I was there and I was available. And we had really good chats, really in-depth chats, and that was good. And it is about just being yourself wherever you are. My kids do laps of the church before the church warden can stop them on a Sunday morning. And I'm hanging around, but I'm there. And the young people know me, and hopefully they can feel comfortable if they want to come and have a chat. We can support our leaders and be there for them when they might need practical, emotional, spiritual support. We're a team, and there's a real delight to be able to share and support one another in all we do. Eggs next. Okay, it's empty. My husband thought it was not a good idea to bring real eggs this morning. Eggs are beaten and they bind. Our life experiences mould the type of person that we are. Whether it's learning to accept failure, I didn't pass my driving test first time, or having to take a lot of responsibility for your family, whether it's living life under pressure, or worrying about where your next meal comes from. Lives get beaten, and lives are complicated. But most of us get through, and actually, if we're ready to help other people, we can share our lives and help them get through too. And we can open up our lives and say where God has been there for us. And knowing that God has been there in so many different people's lives helps us bind our young people, helps us bind our young people together and to God. Now, I don't know about some of you, but I put a drop of milk, it's not going to fit, in my cakes, and that keeps it smooth. Paid staff are often brought into a church. Volunteers are part of the church family already. A youth worker moves on, and that can create bumpy times. A group of volunteers that know and love children and young people in the church, they can keep things going. We can keep things going smoothly. Now, in Blue Peter style, ta-da, here's one I made earlier. And that's just the point. We're here, we're ready, we're volunteers. We have our full-time lives, jobs, commitments. We might not be up on all things technical. I don't know how to tweet. It's a look. I don't know how to tweet, but my paid youth worker probably does, and that's fine. She's got a whole lot of skill sets that I don't need to worry about getting. When a volunteer helps out, one who loves Jesus, one who is happy being themselves, one who enjoys spending time with young people, then you know what? We're like a home-baked cake. We're more than welcome and gratefully received into all youth groups.